Welcome back, Drew and Brandon, talking some NFL draft. The draft is currently going on right now. I was gonna try to stream to YouTube, but for some reason, when I'm using Zoom, it's having some trouble. So recording this, gonna upload it. But anyways, the Saints are on the clock right now at 19. We've seen this has been a much more exciting draft than I thought it was gonna be. I thought there was legit a chance we go in here, and we're at pick 20, and we've seen one trade, and it was like kind of like like a somebody trades up and they get a third rounder. I forget which team did that, but something similar to that. But we've seen some interesting trades. We saw
Yep.
also saw I don't know if this is an upset, but this is the first time in at least a little bit where I would say the favorite to go number one didn't go number one. At least the favorite the vast majority of the draft process. Maybe towards the end, I want to say maybe the odds shifted and Trayvon Walker became the favorite, but pretty interesting because I think last draft Trevor Lawrence was like minus a bajillion to go first overall. But
Yeah.
any we're here to react to our team's pick. We'll get to that when they pick. Any initial reactions so far?
Um. Yeah. So I think Trayvon Walker, that was maybe surprising a couple days ago, but yeah, like if we would have done a third mock draft, I would have put him first overall. Like that's just the way it was leaning. It kind of felt like it was going to go that way. Obviously, it did go that way. So that's not that surprising right now. I think Stingley at 3 was surprising. I'm watching the NFL Network broadcast of it, not ESPN. And Daniel Jeremiah is on it. He said before that pick, he said that they were considering taking Stingley at 3 very highly. And I just, and again, he's obviously an insider, knows a lot of stuff, so I'm not going to doubt him. But like, I just couldn't think that they could take Stingley at 3. One over Sauce, and then two just taking a corner at number 3, especially when they had another first round pick too. So that kind of surprised me. I liked Sauce better than Stingley. And again, obviously Sauce went fourth, but I would have taken Sauce. I like him better. I know you like Stingley. I don't know if you like them more, but I know you like them a lot. But that was probably the most surprising pick, just in terms of where he went, because I didn't think he was going to go 3. I thought he was going to go for like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I thought he was going to go in that range. So 3 definitely surprised me.
I would agree. Yeah, that was surprising to me. That was the first kind of pick where I was like, "Whoa!" I'm a fan of it. I'm not mad at the pick. I would say that I probably like Sauce more as well, but I like the cornerbacks in this draft. I like those two cornerbacks at the very least. So I was a fan of the pick. Did you want to talk about any out of all the trades? Do you have a favorite trade so far? I mean, I think the biggest shocker for me was the AJ Brown trade, just because we've talked about
Yeah.
so many receivers that won out with their contracts. AJ Brown hasn't really been one of them, but obviously that was kind of the case, and now he's out. Now he's over to who just traded for him?
Philly.
Philly. Yeah,
And they just signed him to a contract, 4 years, 100 million, 57 million guaranteed. I mean, I think AJ Brown's good, but at the same time, like he never stays on the field, so I don't really know how to look like how to view him. Is he honestly, is he even upgrading at quarterback like that much? If he is, it's only slightly from Tannehill to Jalen Hurts. So I don't like. Look, I think it's a move you have to make because they were potentially going to take a wide receiver in this draft. Obviously, those guys got taken. They went with Jordan Davis, which I think was a really good pick. I think that getting him at 13, that's kind of where he was supposed to go. That Vikings pick, I think that's a really good pick. Or I guess it was supposed to be one after the Vikings pick. The Lions moved up to that pick, but I think it's a good pick. But yeah, you have Devonta Smith and you have AJ Brown. It's a pretty good 1-2, but I don't know if either of them are like elite true number one guys. And I think that's what you're looking for when you make a trade like that. Now, they didn't give up too much. I think they just gave up a third round pick. So nothing crazy, but at the same time,
well,
I don't know how to.
you're talking about the Eagles.
Yeah.
They give up 18 overall.
Or, yeah, 18, but didn't they also give up or maybe they got a third?
I think it was 18 and a third. Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, I knew obviously they were giving up 18. That's the whole point of the trade. But
yeah.
I just don't know. Again, they want a wide receiver, so you get someone. He's been in the league 3 years or whatever, but injury concerns and production level kind of concerns me a little bit. But again, I think it's a move you kind of have to make. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, if you're making me pick a winner for this trade, I would say that I would go with the Titans as the winner. They get Traylon Burks, who we can talk about who regardless of your opinion on him. To me, I'm in the same boat where I don't view AJ Brown, even when healthy, as a true number one guy that I'm gonna go give more than $20 million a year to. So I'm completely fine trading AJ Brown for a first rounder and a third rounder. I think you save money for cap. I would like to see the Titans use something with that extra cap money at some point. It doesn't have to be this offseason, but I want to see what that cap money turns into. Because if it is legit just AJ Brown into Traylon Burks and a third rounder, then that's a lot less. It's a little bit more underwhelming than I thought it would be. But if you can turn AJ Brown into essentially like a really good player, maybe on the defensive side or wherever, a really good player next offseason, plus Traylon Burks, plus a third rounder that you can maybe use for something, then I think you for sure have to give the Titans the advantage in this trade. So I lean Titans. I if you're making me pick a winner, I would go Titans. I understand the reasoning for the trade though from the Eagles, because the Eagles have been, they've been one of the teams that has just been so desperate for wide receiver talent. And Devontae Smith was fine last year, but he's not a lock for anything. Like he could be really good. He could also be really meh. He could also be. It's hard to really tell right now. I think with
Yeah.
Devontae Smith, I don't know exactly what he is. He's definitely not a true guarantee number one. He may not even be a true guarantee like number two right now. He could be number one. I don't know, but we'll see. I understand both sides of the trade. I give the Titans the edge, but I don't hate it for the Eagles. If you can't draft a wide receiver, then this is the best way to go. Make sure you get a guy. So
Yeah, and I guess at the same time they've been trying to draft wide receivers, and some of them work, some of them haven't. I guess 3 years in the league, he has been productive. So I guess you're getting a known commodity, which is better than someone who's coming out of the draft who could easily be hit or miss. But I think we both have concerns about it. We'll see how it pays off. I mean, again, is Hurts even the guy there? Is like Smith? I think they're both like really good. I think they can both be really good number twos. I don't see either of them being a number one. Maybe Brown has the ability to be a number one if he's healthy, like a low end number one, but I really don't see it, to be honest. But again, they made the trade. I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I mean, it gives them another weapon, obviously. I mean, the NFC East got better today. At least two teams did. I mean, the Eagles, I mean, they technically did get better by getting Brown and obviously drafting Jordan Davis. And then the Giants, they get Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau. So both teams got better. You can't deny that.
yeah, I guess the Marquise Brown trade, the other wide receiver that's been traded. Thoughts on that trade?
Yeah, I mean, people seem to be upset about it. I mean, I guess they just don't have any other receiving options. So I guess that's kind of the reason why you'd be mad about it. But I mean, I never really thought Hollywood Brown was that good, to be honest. I didn't really like him at all. They drafted him first round 2019. He really hasn't done much. I know he had 1,000 yards last year. I think his rookie year he had 1,000 yards, but he had a lot of drops, a lot of inconsistent play. I don't think he's that good of a wide receiver, to be honest. So in terms of trading him, I like trading him, but you just don't have any other wide receivers on that team. I couldn't even tell you who the next wide receiver is. Obviously, they drafted Kyle Hamilton, which I thought was really good value, considering Jordan Davis got taken from them. They were for sure going to take him. The Eagles didn't trade up to right before that. But I think Hamilton was a good pick. But I mean, I like the Hollywood Brown trade. I don't think he was that good, to be honest.
I would agree. I think it's a lot to give up for Hollywood Brown. Yeah, I would agree. I just don't think he's very good. I
Yeah.
don't. Drop problems, consistency issues. There's a reason the Ravens have essentially been needing wide receiver for multiple years. I mean, I guess they've really needed wide receiver ever since, I don't know. I mean, they've needed wide receiver for a long time. So, and Marquise Brown wasn't able to fulfill that need as like a true number one, or really even just like a consistent pass catching option for Lamar. So I'm
All right.
completely fine with
Well,
the Ravens dishing him.
yeah. I guess breaking news: the first quarterback taken, Kenny Pickett, goes to the
Yeah.
Steelers. Um, I I would I look. I don't like any of the quarterbacks in this draft. I guess if I had to choose one, it'd probably be Willis as my favorite. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be Pickett and Trubisky and Mason Rudolph in that quarterback room. I guess any of them could be the starter for sure. Not Rudolph, probably Trubisky or Pickett. I mean, if you're doing this, it's not guaranteed he starts day one. I wouldn't be surprised if he sits for maybe half the year and Trubisky struggles. They put Pickett in, but I I don't know. I feel like if I was the Steelers, I don't know if you had to take his quarterback this draft. I think Trubisky is a solid enough quarterback for 1 or 2 years to the point where you can trade for someone, sign someone, or draft someone else. I don't know how much I love this.
Yeah. So it's tough for me to have an opinion because it just depends on how they feel about Pickett. If they
Yeah,
really do like Pickett and think that he's a really good value at 20, go for it. Uh, he went to Pitt, so there's at least a little bit of a connection there. But he seems like a guy that's just not going to be that guy that can carry you to a Super Bowl. And if I'm in the first round, that's what I'm shooting for. I mean, Mac Jones had a good rookie year, but if you're gonna have a concern about Mac Jones, that's the concern. Is like, yeah, he's gonna be good for probably 15 years. Is he ever gonna be able to actually carry your team to a Super Bowl? We'll find out. We'll find out. I think it's
yeah,
gonna be the same with Pickett. I think he'll be good, but I don't know how good. Like he could be backup good. That's obviously still like good, but it's not first round good. So I would
yeah,
probably say I don't like the pick either. But if they love Pickett and they think he's good value at 20, you know, the price for a franchise quarterback is essentially priceless. So
yeah.
I'll allow it. So yeah,
It looks like the Chiefs. It looks like the Chiefs have traded with the Pats.
yeah. Wow.
Um, so
Who would have known the Patriots are trading back in the draft?
I guess we'll wait a couple more. I guess next team now is my team, the Pats.
We made
I
it just
guess we're
completely traded out the first round. I mean, we're picking what? We're picking 28th now, so
yeah, 29th, I think. At least
29th,
that. I think that's
29,
what this says.
1. Yeah, yeah. So like 29th,
Um,
like I'm like, yeah, man.
yeah.
I'm not.
So
I'm currently not listening to the NFL. Like I'm not hearing their voices because I'm recording this right now. But if they
yeah,
say
I
anything
have it.
interesting, let me know.
I'm not hearing the voices either. I just have it on the back. But yeah. So okay, we'll see what happens there. But so again, first quarterback off the board, Kenny Pickett, 20th. Just to kind of go through some other names, all the wide receivers are gone. Drake London being the first one. I know you don't like him.
Yeah,
Garrett
I thought that
Wilson, 10th.
was.
Chris Olave, 11th. Jameson Williams, 12th. We'll talk about that. And Jahan Dotson, 16th. And then Traylon Burks, 18th. So we'll start with London at 8 to the Falcons.
I don't know what I need to say about this. I think he's kind of like a 50-50 ball guy, a guy who's got a big frame. But the draft comparison they gave was Larry Fitz. I don't know that I see the catch and traffic ability, the grit factor, the ability to just do anything in the middle of the field, and like the elusiveness that Fitzgerald kind of had, the ability to kind of weave in and out. I don't know that I see much of that from London that we've seen with Fitzgerald. I think if I had to give my comp in a best case scenario for Drake London, it would be like more like Mike Evans. And Mike Evans might be a Hall of Fame receiver, so I'm not telling you this pick can't go well, but he's not. That's not my type of receiver, really. I think Mike Evans is all right. Right, he's a great receiver, but he's a super inconsistent receiver who sometimes might give you 3 touchdowns on 200 yards, and some games will give you 3 catches for 55 yards on like 7 targets or something. And it's just like he's underwhelming. He kind of gets shut down by like a good corner or something, just has a bad day. And if that bad day happens to be a playoff game, well, tough luck. Better luck next season. And he's also just not a consistent player. I have some questions about London's ability to be consistent in the NFL. And if I'm taking a guy at what it was 8 overall to the Falcons, like I don't know, I want a surefire bet. I want that Julio Jones type guy. I don't think there's a receiver. Specifically Drake London, I just don't see worth taking at 8. I can see taking him later in the first round. 8 seems pretty high for me, and I also am not a big fan of London to begin with. So I'd have to if I'm giving it a grade, I'd give it like a C minus. I think they're better wide receivers in the draft.
Yeah. Quickly, Chiefs took Trent McDuffie, corner from Washington. But London, yeah, I mean, I think there's better wide receivers in the draft. I probably had him fourth, maybe even fifth out of the wide receivers. I think Wilson was the best. Garrett Wilson. I think Jameson Williams was the best wide receiver, if not injured. And again, it really kind of doesn't matter. So he'll be healthy by the time the season starts. But I guess it affects your draft a little bit. But I think Wilson was probably the best, and then probably Olave, then Williams. But to take London at 8, I mean, surprised no one traded back. We talked about it. Panthers, Falcons, those teams possibly trading back. They didn't happen, didn't come to fruition. Apparently, the Texans wanted to trade up to the top 10. The Lions wanted to trade up to the top 10. They got to the 12th. So that didn't happen. But yeah, taking Drake London, I mean, I agree. I just don't think he's. I think you could have taken someone else. Again, obviously, they like him the best. That's why they took him. But I just don't really see it. I mean, yeah, he's a jump ball guy. He's 6'5". He's one of those guys. Like that was good 10 years ago, but as we obviously see, like it's the quicker guys, the smaller guys, the route running guys. Those are the guys you want, and that's just not really Drake London, to be honest. So I don't love that pick either. And then we go 10, 11, 12, 3 picks in a row. Wilson, Olave, Williams. I guess out of those 3 picks, which one do you like the most? It was the Jets pick, the Saints pick, and the Lions pick.
I would probably go Olave. I like Williams and Olave equally. I would say. I just not a fit. Yeah, so I would probably go Olave. I believe they traded up 5 picks for Olave, right? The Saints did.
Yeah,
So
they traded from 16 to 11.
I would probably go the Olave pick. It would be my favorite, but I like if somebody wanted to argue Williams, I wouldn't argue like I wouldn't throw a fit about it. So
Did you? I don't know, like have a problem, but I guess what were your thoughts on the Lions going from 32 to 12 to take Jameson Williams? And again, if they didn't, they wouldn't have gotten him at 32. They probably, and again, they wouldn't have gotten him probably past 15, 16. But I mean, going up 20 spots to take a receiver, I mean, it's a lot.
it's a lot of spots. I think there's probably there's a gap, right? I mean, you probably have like what 5 wide receivers at that first round level, and then
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a drop where like you're not going to see that type of talent at 32. If you love the guy, I have no problem with it. What exactly do they give up on top of trading up?
They rather got a second round pick back. I think they gave up a second and a third, and they got a second back. So they basically only gave up a third. Obviously, their first round pick, but they basically only gave up a third round pick. I'll look it up to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that is what the trade was.
I mean, if you're only having to give up a third round pick, first off, I don't know if that's true. I find it hard to believe all you'd have to give up is a third rounder. But if that's the case, then I'm completely fine with it. I think giving up a third to move up 20 spots, that seems very low. Maybe that's incorrect. I'm not sure, but yeah, I would say I'm fine with it if you love the guy. But if you're drafting him solely because we need a wide receiver to make sure, I don't know, to either help Goff in the short term and then help our next quarterback in the long term, like if it's not really because you actually love this guy, then I would question it. So it's kind of a cop out answer, but that's my answer.
So yeah, again, what it cost them, they moved down 12 picks in the second round, and they gave up a third rounder, but they did get, they got they got a second round pick. So they really only gave up a third round pick and moving down 12 spots.
Yeah, I don't think that's that much. So
Yeah. Because I would have thought it would be a lot more. And I was listening to the NFL Network one. Daniel Jeremiah said if you're moving up that much, that usually means quarterback. So you're probably thinking Willis or Pickett at that point. Because again, to move up 20 spots in a first round, that just usually means a quarterback. But they took Williams, and again, they like we kind of just said, like they really didn't give up that much to get him. You really only just gave up a third round pick, but the Packers just picked at 22. They took Quay Walker from Georgia, linebacker. So they go defense there with Georgia. So that leaves the Bills at 23. The Bills are at 23. I think the Bills maybe just traded up. So but I think the Ravens were at 23 before. So maybe there was a trade. I haven't seen anything yet. And then the Cowboys are at 24.
yeah, I'm a little bit behind you. I just saw them take Quay Walker, so another Georgia guy. I mean, if you follow college football, I don't like follow college football, but even if you just like follow it from afar, the defense everybody talked about the whole year was the Georgia defense. So, and we're seeing that kind of play out in the draft. I mean, we've seen how many Georgia guys go, defensive guys go, at least three, right?
That's the third one right there.
That's the
Yeah.
third one. Okay, yeah.
And there
So
could be N'Kobe Dean could go in the next couple of picks too.
yeah, so we could see four Georgia guys go in the first round, which maybe I mean that's sometimes we do see that like in Alabama, but it's not every year we see something like that. So it's pretty impressive, and it's a testament to just how talented that Georgia defense was. Um, as far as the player himself, I don't know that I have a too strong of an opinion. Um, I guess my one take is this better be enough to get the Packers over the hump. I don't think it's going to be. We'll see what happens, but the Packers are going to be an interesting team next year. That's a team I'm really looking forward to seeing how they work, because no Devontae Adams to me is extremely interesting. Is that team going to completely implode? Are they going to find a way to make it work out? Is the exact same thing going to happen again next year where they get the divisional or the conference championship and the wheels kind of fall off and Rodgers has like an iffy game and you got everybody pointing fingers at each other for whose fault the season really is and all that, and we eventually see like Rodgers go somewhere else. I don't know. It's interesting though. I'm kind of just I also haven't really given much feedback on the Patriots trading back. I don't know exactly what they got for trading back, but it better be something. It better be more than like a fifth rounder. If the Lions really only have to give up a third rounder, move up from 32 to 13 or whatever it was, I'm assuming we probably didn't give up, or we probably didn't get much to have to trade back from 23 or 21 to 28. I hope it was more than a fifth rounder. If it's like a fifth rounder, like I don't know. I think you just take your guy there. I guess maybe they wanted a receiver, and the receivers kind of all went before. Maybe they wanted Olave, but of course, the Saints trade up to 11 to pick Olave, so things just don't really work out there. I'm not too
Um,
sure, but
yeah. So Patriots trade was they gave up the 21st. They moved back to 29, and they get the 94th pick and the 121 pick.
so they get a third rounder and they get a fourth rounder, right? Essentially,
Yes.
I'm not completely mad at it. I want to see who they take at 29, and I want to know who. I mean, we're never gonna know. I would have liked to know who they would have taken at 21 had they not traded back. It's got me a little scared that they're gonna reach at 29 because they say we don't really like these guys at 21. Uh, we like this guy who's supposed to go theoretically in the middle of the second. Let's trade back to 29, get a third and a fourth, and take this guy at 29 who realistically shouldn't go until the second round. I'd be a little bit disappointed if that's the case. I want to see what position they take. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. So
Yeah, and I think the biggest surprise who's still on the board is Jermaine Johnson, someone that we both had at least going, in the top 15, top 16, whatever it is. I mean, we're already at 23 and he hasn't been taken yet. Now, the Bills did just trade up to 23. Maybe they're trying to take him as a potential. I'm not sure. I'd love for the Cowboys to get him because obviously he wasn't supposed to be there at 24. So if he's there at 24 and we can get him, I think that's amazing value. I don't really love him, but to get an edge rusher like that, one of the top edge rushers in this draft, like you can't be mad at getting him at 24. He's at least going to bring something to you. So I would love that personally. I think we still need offensive line, but at where we're at right now, offensive line is kind of dwindled down a little bit. The teams are first round talent. There's not huge guys that are there that you are like, in love with. I guess Tyler Linderbaum is there at center. But personally for the Cowboys, that center is not, as big of an issue as a tackle, offensive guard, swing guy. But yeah, I think Jermaine Johnson's for sure the guy who slipped the most so far. I don't think anyone else really slipped that much who already got taken. I don't think anyone slipped like a lot that we thought was going to be taken a lot higher. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So the Bills, they traded with the Ravens. They got a fourth round pick, or the Ravens got a fourth round pick in that trade for moving down two spots. That was just that trade.
okay, interesting. Well, this matters for me. I mean, this This is a big pick for the division. Obviously, the Bills did a lot this offseason. Well, specifically acquiring Von Miller. So yeah, they trade down. They trade up 2 spots, give up a fourth. I'm fine with that as a Pats fan. I want to see who they take. I'm going to be behind, so they may even, let me know when they pick.
Yeah. So I think the pick is in. But so they take here Elam, corner from Florida.
Okay. I mean, I'm interested to see how Tre'Davious White's recovery is going. Surely, I guess they want a cornerback to go. They want to form a powerful cornerback duo with Tre'Davious White and their now first round pick. I like the pick off the bat. I think corner is. If you're making me do like a hierarchy of positions, I'm not exactly sure what my hierarchy would be, other than obviously quarterback would be one, and like punter would probably be last or something like that. Long snapper would be last or whatever. But I think cornerback would be the position. Like if you had to say what's the most underrated position, I would probably go corner. I think corner is a pretty underrated position. So
Yeah, he's obviously we didn't go that far in our mock drafts, but if we did, he probably would have went there. In terms of corners now, obviously it was the top two, then it was McDuffie somewhere in the middle there, and then it was probably him as that fourth guy. I think they have him ranked fifth, at least on ESPN. But yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, the Tre'Davious White injury is obviously a big factor in this. You don't really need guys on your defensive line. I mean, it always helps. I mean, they always could have just taken Jermaine Johnson, or he's a top prospect. But I think going corner for them was a good move. Again, Tyreek Hill's now in the division. Garrett Wilson's in the division too. So you obviously need corners there.
yeah, I mean
But
Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar. Those are some true number ones that I would be scared of if I was any team in the AFC East right now for sure. So
yeah, I mean, those are just, yeah, the Pats have so many, great receivers that you just have to get corners to get those guys.
yeah, as long as you just have a warm body out there, honestly, it should be enough to get the job done. But Dallas is on the clock. This is
Yeah,
what are you hoping for out of this pick?
I did just put the sound on so I could hear it, but I mean, how can you not go Jermaine Johnson? It just makes the most sense. You lose Randy Gregory in free agency. You need help on the defensive line to open up Parsons. If Jermaine Johnson wasn't here, I'd probably look at Nakobe Dean or possibly guy on the interior offensive line. But he's here. It's just, how do you not take him? If they don't take him, then I'm not really sure what you do, because it's a need. It frees up Parsons, and it's one of the top players in the draft going into tonight. It's just, how do you not take him?
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. Do you have any thoughts as to why Jermaine Johnson would drop? I mean, what's
It's weird. I don't love him, as a prospect, but he's you can never have enough pass rushers as any team. Like, you get a pass rusher, you don't know what could happen. Like, again, TJ Watt won second round and he's defensive player of the year. Now, obviously, he's probably more talented than Johnson is, but coming out of the draft, but like, you just don't know. Like, you get a defensive end, they may not be great in college. Like Trayvon Walker, he wasn't great in college, but he has the freakish athleticism and like just like characteristics and traits about him that like, if he just gets it right in the technical and mechanical stuff, like, he's gonna be a beast because he's so powerful, so fast, so twitchy. Like, you just don't know what could happen. We're usually good with defensive linemen, DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Ware. Like, we're usually pretty good on the defensive line. So I think if we get him in, and again, Lawrence is on one side, Parsons is going to be anywhere. Like, you're not going to face a double at all. You're going to face right tackles because D-Law is on the on the other side. So I think that's the pick. I think it has to be the pick.
I could see that. I could see that if it was an edge rusher, where do you see what's another position that you would not be mad at had if they go there?
Well, I wouldn't be mad at offensive line, but again, the guys there just aren't that appealing to me. Tyler Penning went to the Saints at 18. He was an option because he had the injury concerns and just the concerns about his play. He was kind of raw. He didn't drop though. I thought he maybe could have dropped. I think I had him going 16 in my mock draft to the Saints, but he went 18. I wouldn't have minded that, but again, he's not here. Kenyon Green went earlier than I thought. He went to the Texans at 15. He was someone who I thought was going to be there at 24. That I would have loved that pick too. But I again, I think the way the draft is right now and the people are left, I think you have to go defensive line or maybe Nakobe Dean. But I think he's more of a second round guy, to be honest. But like I said, I don't see how you don't go Jermaine Johnson here.
Yeah. I can get behind that. Yeah, I mean, I think Trevor Penning went what 18, 19.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, so yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, any thoughts? Actually, not this isn't related. Let me know when they're about to pick. My like stream's lagging pretty hard, but
Yeah, I think I got it behind my computer. It's there's still time on the clock, but they said another name, Devin Lloyd from Utah. That's another name that's been thrown out there. He was a pre-draft guy for them, who is kind of like a Parsons guy. Like he's like a similar kind of guy. That's what they kind of graded him as. I wouldn't mind that either. I mean, I think a Lloyd, Dean, or Johnson. I wouldn't be mad at any of those picks, but I do think the best pick is probably Johnson, to be honest. But we'll see.
yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, this isn't related. You can stop me whenever the pick is about to happen or whatever. But any thoughts on the offensive lineman order to start with the Iquan going before Neil? Not really,
Yeah.
or
Um, I again, we kind of debated it back and forth. He's Carolina guy, so maybe that helps that the Panthers drafted him. He was born in Carolina, went to obviously NC State, so maybe that helps or whatever. But a lot of people honestly had him as the better offensive lineman than Neil. I think I was pretty close with it. I feel like I think Neil at his best is probably better, but I think Iquanu is probably more consistent. But we'll see. I mean, in the NFC South, that's a tough division to be tackling. I mean, you're gonna have Cam Jordan, you're gonna have Shaq Barrett, you're gonna have JPP. You're gonna have a lot of guys, so it's gonna be tough. But I mean, I think both teams got the guys that they want. Again, I think the Giants had a really good draft, and I think I was still surprised the Panthers didn't go back, but I think they got the right guy.
yeah, no, I'm pretty much in that same boat. I think I would probably have both pretty equal. Maybe Iquan is a higher ceiling guy. Neil is a higher floor guy. I don't know. I mean, that's we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But this trade down's got me wondering who the Patriots really are looking for.
Well, who do you want position wise with the guys who are left now?
I don't know. Um, yeah, it's tough for me to say. I'm not too. I wasn't expecting us to trade down. Maybe I should have been expecting it because we do that a lot. But I would say, I mean, I would still like to look receiver. I'm not exactly sure who that's going to be at this
Um,
point. I don't know, but
yeah. All right, the pick's about to come in.
all right. See my stream like completely. Oh, there we go.
Oh no, we went Tyler Smith from Tulsa, the tackle. I don't know how much I love that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this
I
is
don't know. If Jermaine Johnson isn't on the board there, then maybe I can understand it. But I mean, we need help on the defensive line. I mean, we need help on the offensive line. There's no doubt about it. But I just didn't. I don't know if I loved him enough to take him there, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, if there's one thing I would say, it's that the Cowboys have had a pretty good track record drafting offensive linemen. Does that really mean anything? I don't know, but I guess what I'm saying is, you know, there are some times when I'm like, I don't know that I agree with this, but I'll just trust Bill. If like the Steelers, like if maybe let's say the Steelers went with a wide receiver in the first round and he wasn't a guy that was like expected to go as early as he did, I'd be like, I don't know how I feel about it, but at least there's some sort of track record there that I can kind of lean on and say like, all right, I can get behind it. If there's a team I'm gonna say that with offensive line, it would probably be Dallas. Maybe not, but I mean I think Dallas has had a pretty solid track record of offensive linemen in the past. Ever since
Yeah, no, they
Zach
have.
Martin or Tyron Smith, pretty much. So
They
maybe
have.
even going, so
Even Frederick. I mean, obviously he retired, but he was on his way to probably be a Hall of Famer too. But they just said a story how Tyler Smith, the guy they just drafted, like he had a condition where his legs were broken, and they had to re-break his legs in high school to let them heal properly. So I don't love that, especially when he's 6'4", 330 or whatever he is. So I don't love that. Hearing that, I did not know that. That isn't something I like to see with someone who already has knee problems and he's coming out of college right now. But like you said, we are good with the offensive lineman. The one thing on him is the penalties, which we're not that great at, like having guys not commit penalties. Example, Connor Williams, but I don't know. I again, he's probably not going to. Well, he might start day one and maybe a right tackle, but he's obviously going to be conditioned to be the left tackle when Tyron's done. But I don't know. I guess I had to look more into him. I wasn't obviously really looking at him going into this draft, but right now I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand it with Jermaine Johnson on the board. I mean, that's a guy, I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if the Patriots took him at 29. So,
Yeah, I mean, he's whoever gets him. I think is like I don't know why he's slipping. Like I don't, but it's tremendous value unless there's just something that we just don't know, a medical thing or a something thing that we don't know. But whoever does get him, it's yeah. I mean, that's a great pick.
yeah, I'll tell you what I don't want the Patriots to go. I mean, I definitely don't want like offensive line or something. I I don't know. I don't really want safety. I don't want running back if that's even a possibility. I would literally die if they picked a running back in the first round. Um, I don't want a guy from like a D2 school. We specialize in picking guys from D2 schools in like the second round when they really shouldn't be going in the second round at all. Obviously, this is the first round, but I just want, I don't know. I want a wide receiver. I would love a corner if that's a possibility here at 29. I trust that they'll find a guy. Yeah, I don't want like a safety. I don't want a position we don't really need or a position that doesn't matter. So my standards honestly aren't that high. And our drafts historically, well, not historically, but like recently, I've been pretty bad. So it's hard to really. This past year's draft was pretty good. I mean, Barmore and Mac Jones, pretty good, about as good as you're going to get for where they were taken. But I mean, we still haven't had a Pro Bowler since like Jamie Collins in 2013. So our drafts have been pretty down bad. And hopefully this is a year where we start to pick things back up. So
Yeah, and apparently on the Jermaine Johnson front, he's not sliding. At least this is from an exec, but he's not sliding. He was just overvalued from the media. So maybe he was never supposed to go in the top 15, top 12. He was supposed to be a late first round guy.
I mean, I I don't know. I mean, we'll see, right? Their execs are gonna know more than I do for sure. I would also say, is his value hindered by execs because Walker, Hutchinson, and Thibodeau go in the top five, and Jermaine Johnson was kind of rumored to go, I don't know, maybe in that 15-ish area, 10 to 15, and you're kind of like, why would I draft Jermaine Johnson at 15 when I can just draft one of those guys in the top five in a draft where realistically, if I really wanted to trade up, I could trade up. That could be an opinion maybe people have. I don't know. Or maybe they just have problems with something else. I don't know. We'll see though. I'll tell you what. I would not be mad if they pick Jermaine Johnson. Is it maybe a riskier pick? Maybe, sure. But I'd be fine with it. So we'll see what happens though. I guess the Ravens are up right now. Obviously, they went with Kyle Hamilton at 14. I want to say. They had been rumored to be in the mix with Tyrann Mathieu for a while. That didn't pan out. This could Kyle Hamilton probably if you're having people rank top five players in the draft, he's probably in the top five, right? I mean, maybe not for some people, but for most people, I think he'd land in that top five. So it's a good value pick positionally. I don't know if it's their biggest need, but it's for sure like a need. So I'm interested to see if they go at 25. I don't know exactly. I'm not hearing what these guys are talking about. I'm not sure if there's already a guy that they have in mind or not. But
I turned the volume off, but the pick hasn't been made yet. But yeah, well, we'll see where they go. I mean, you'd love for them to go receiver here, but again, there's not really a receiver to take. I mean, there's like George Mickens, George Pickens, whatever his last name is. But and I think who's the other guy? Mechie from Alabama, but like those guys aren't going here. It's I don't know who they'd go here. They need a wide receiver. Like they don't have any wide receivers. Now with Brown gone, they lose Sammy Watkins in free agency. Like they don't have anyone. So I don't know what they're going to do with wide receiver depth for that team.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a team that when was the last legit receiver they had? Anquan Bolden.
I was
I'm
gonna
actually
say probably for Steve Smith. I guess they had at the end of
see.
his
Yeah, I mean, I
career.
guess the 38, 37 year old Steve Smith is a guy. But I mean, if you told me when is the last receiver that they've had that's like a legitimate guy that they actually drafted that they were happy to have and took, I would make I don't know Torrey Smith. I
Yeah.
literally no idea. I mean, it's definitely not Marquise Brown. Obviously, with the trade going down today, it's now official that they regret that trade. I guess technically. Yeah, I don't know, but this is a team. There are multiple teams in the league that have problems with positions. Every team has a problem at a certain position drafting wise. The wide receiver position is one that is it's a little bit more evident. Like if a team has a problem drafting edge rushers, it's maybe a little harder to notice at times. I mean, but like Eagles, Patriots, Ravens, maybe a couple other teams thrown in there, like really have a tough time drafting a receiver for the life of them. So we'll see what happens. I am interested to see who they go here because this
They
is a team that
the pick is in. They go Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa center.
okay, okay. I mean, I think this is a guy that we talked about as being the best center in the draft, and a guy that if he didn't play center, it probably goes higher, right? So
Yeah,
as far as value is concerned, right? They you could listen if post draft, right? The argument for the Ravens having the best draft is, hey, we didn't get the two most important positions in the draft, but we arguably got the two best value picks at their position, given how good they are at their position. And I guess the league's just a little bit more down on those positions. The center is obviously just not important as a tackle, and a safety is not really as important as a dominant edge rusher or a lockdown corner. But they're not irrelevant positions. They're still really important positions, and having the best center or having the best safety is can win you a Super Bowl. So I think that's the argument for the Ravens, right? Is they didn't get the two best positions or whatever, but I mean they probably got the two highest value picks. So
yeah. I mean, I would have rather taken Linderbaum than Smith. I mean, like you said, he's a center. Centers are not valued positions, but he was clearly the best center. Like again, if he wasn't a center, he'd be a top, 10 pick, top 5 pick, whatever. But um, like I'd almost for me, like for my team, like I'd rather just have him at center and then move. We have Biotish there, like move him to guard, like just figure something out, than taking Smith. I don't know. He just like I mean, he had 14 penalties in 12 games last year, and then had, or in like, yeah, I think it was 12 games. Then he had 7 penalties in 14 games the year before that, or whatever, or maybe 2 years before that, whatever it was. But I mean, it's a lot of penalties, and usually when guys have a lot of penalties in college, they usually keep getting penalties in the NFL because it's harder, and guys are
yeah,
faster. So I'm, yeah, like I said when we drafted him, I'm not a fan of it. I'm definitely not a fan of it right now. Just quickly going back to that. But the Jets traded up to 26, so another AFC team, AFC East team for the Patriots. Again, who, I mean, I think the Jets have had a really good draft. The trade here is they got the 26th pick and the 101st pick, and the Titans got the second round pick, 35th, third round pick, and the fifth round pick.
it's interesting. It's interesting. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see. Who is the pick in yet, or my stream just blacked out again?
It's not
So
in yet, but it's not in yet. But they just showed the Jets war room, and it was they already made the pick because everyone was hugging it, but it's not in yet. So I'm curious to know where they'll go. Obviously they went wide receiver, they went corner. I would assume somewhere offensive line, but I'm not sure. Maybe defensive, maybe Jermaine Johnson. I feel like that probably makes sense.
yeah, I mean, again, that'd be another one of those really just high value picks for as compared to where they were mocked to go according to most people. So we'll see. I guess I'm hoping for. I don't know what I'm hoping for if I'm a Patriots fan. I don't know. I guess I'm hoping for something that doesn't help Zach Wilson out, and they realize Zach Wilson's not the guy or something. That's what I'm hoping for. I guess I don't know. I don't view the Jets as a real contender, so I'm not going to be happy or mad with whoever they go with. Whereas if the Bills traded up and grabbed a guy that I really liked or something, or the Dolphins did, I would be a little bit more intimidated. The Jets, I mean, they're the Jets, right? I don't know. Like they could draft Tom Brady, and that might still not be enough to help them out. So
Um, yeah, the pick is in. I'm just waiting to see who it is. I would be surprised if it's not Johnson. They need help on the defensive line. He's obviously sliding, even though the exec says that maybe it was overvalued. I mean, he still slid. I mean, again, the guys who do the mock drafts, like they still had him going in the top half of the draft. So I kind of do trust those guys a lot too. They're usually pretty right, and the pick is in, and it is Jermaine Johnson. So they do get him at 26.
yeah, I mean, it's is it a guy that I might have wanted at 28? Probably, yeah, or 29. I mean, is it a guy the Patriots would have taken? Something tells me no. I don't know exactly what. They keep showing this highest overall draft score next gen stats thing, and they show like Lindenbaum at 99, Brees Hall at 99. It's an interesting. I don't know exactly how that is calculated, but Jermaine Johnson, yeah, we'll see how he works out. The Jets aren't exactly known for if whatever problems that might have surfaced. The Jets haven't been known as the most stable organization, so I'm not sure that's the best like matchup for him, right? I'm not sure that's the best like fit, but we'll see. I mean, it's a guy that I would have been happy to have at 29, I think, especially if you told me that like before he started falling, right? If you told me at 7 p.m. Eastern today, hey, you're going to end up with Jermaine Johnson, and you will also have traded back 6 spots, or sorry, 8 spots. I would have been like, all right, that means we pretty much got him at like 30, so I'll take it. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Again, we'll see what the Pats do. They still have the Bucks and the Packers in front of them at 27 and 28. So I'm not exactly sure where those teams will go, to be honest. I mean, Packers already went linebacker at 22 with Quay Walker. Bucks haven't picked yet. Obviously, Brady comes back. They had a couple guys to return because of that, but I don't know where they'll go. Obviously, Godwin's back. Evans is still there, so it's not really a need at receiver. Offensive line's pretty good. I guess they lost. Who they lose? Jensen retired, and they lost Alex Kappa to the Bengals. So potentially guard for them, I think would probably make the most sense.
oh, did you say that Tampa Bay traded back yet, or
No, did they trade back? I
it
haven't
looks
seen
like it?
that.
It looks like they
Oh
traded back.
yes, the Jags are on the clock right now. So, yeah, they traded back. So it goes Jags, Packers, Patriots. So Jags, I don't know where they'd go.
I mean,
Kind
they're
of.
they're a team that essentially has no needs because they need everything. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they need everything other than maybe what, like a quarterback. So I
They
think
spent a lot of money in free agency.
they have some. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. The Jags to me, I don't know. I don't know what I should expect for them to go because they're a team that traded or that signed Christian Kirk to what it was like 4 years, 72 million or something, 5 years, 72 mil. That's just too much money for Christian Kirk, who's like, I don't know, maybe a number two receiver. Like he's like a maybe a low end number two or a high end number three. That's a lot of money for a low end two, high end three. So I don't know exactly what to expect, but
Yeah. Um, we'll see where they go. I don't think the pick's been in yet. Um, yeah, no, they're still on the clock. The pick's not even in. So we have a little bit of time left, but just best available guys just to go through. Daxton Hill, safety from Michigan, Kobe Dean, linebacker from Georgia, Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah, Malik Willis is still there, Devontae Wyatt, DT from Georgia, he's still there. Andrew Booth, corner from Clemson. So there's still a lot of guys. David Ojabo, I mean, again, if he didn't get injured, he's easily going first round, top half first round. That's not a bad guy to take a fly. I don't know when he's going to go. Like I haven't really seen like when he's going to go now with the torn Achilles, but that's not a bad guy to take a flyer on because he's super talented. And again, if he wasn't injured, he's a top 15 pick for sure. So a right situation, that's a really good pick if it can work out and he gets back to being healthy.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm not exactly sure who the Jags go with. I don't know who are the Packers going to go with at 28. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, you'd think probably receiver, but again, there's just not that many great receivers right there at 28. I mean, they don't have any receivers. They obviously lost MVS, obviously Devontae. So I think Randall Cobb is still on the team. So your best receiver is
So
Randall Cobb.
their dynamic wide receiver duo is Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins. So
Sammy Watkins, yeah.
that might have been good 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they'll find a way to make something work. But my hopes aren't high for that receiving core, and they need I would be surprised if they didn't at least consider receiver here at 28. If I'm the Packers, I'm probably looking to trade back and say, who wants Malik Willis at 28? You get him in a solid spot. You get the 5th year option. You have to pay him a little bit, but I think if you're gonna take a quarterback, you'd rather take him at 28 than at 34 for the 5th year option. So I think you say, hey, who wants to trade? Who wants to trade with me? We're looking to go into the second round. We want to grab a receiver somewhere in the early to middle second round where we feel there's a better value as opposed to 28. Maybe that's a possibility. Honestly, in your opinion, I mean, like Malik Willis, what do you think? If you before the draft you had to assign a percentage that he doesn't go in the first round, what would your percentage have been for him not going in the first round?
Um, I probably would have said not going in the first round, probably, ooh, I don't know, 40% to be honest, 30%. Just I
Yeah,
like personally,
I would probably agree.
yeah, like personally, I wouldn't have drafted him in the first round. Because again, I'm not high on these quarterbacks. I'm still kind of surprised Pickett went 20th, even though it kind of made sense with Pittsburgh. But you know, these are just not good quarterbacks. We talked about on the last mock draft. Like if you don't love love one of these quarterbacks, then don't take them in the first round or even the early half of the second round, which is basically the first round still. Like there's no point to do that. You can get them later, or if you just don't take them because they're not that good. Like it's I just never would want to be in that spot where I need a need a quarterback, like can afford to have one in a draft. And like it's not a good quarterback draft, and it's like your pick is up. Like I'd hate to be in that position just because like I just wouldn't take the quarterback every single time. I wouldn't fall in love with any of these guys. So Malik Willis, I think that probably this could be a media overhype thing too, where I mean, people thought he was going to go six of the Panthers. So obviously that wasn't the case. He'll probably go second round. I don't know what team's going to get him. Maybe the Panthers do take him second round. That's still a possibility, but yeah, it looks like he'll for sure go second round now.
I mean, yeah, it would be an interesting acquisition for the Panthers. Let's say they get him at I don't know 38 or something, and if you told me they would get Equanu and Willis, I would have told you, oh, okay, they traded up. They somehow managed to stay at 6 and also trade up to like 12. But so yeah, I honestly I would have expected Willis to go in the first round, and I'd probably agree like 30% chance he would have actually fallen out of the first, but it looks like he's going to. I mean, we'll see, right? Who knows? There's still time left, but
Yeah,
we'll see,
I
man.
think if I was thinking the Bucks were at 27, imagine they took him because Brady's obviously he's only under contract for this year, right? He didn't I know he restructured his contract, but he didn't it's on an extension, right?
Um, I believe there's like a faux extension, yeah, like I believe it may be technically labeled as an extension, but I wouldn't consider any of it. I mean, I don't. We didn't really get too deep into the Brady stuff, but like, I mean, essentially, if he wants out, I think he'll be able to find a way out after this season. Um, and I don't believe any. Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe he's like he has. If he wants to come back next year, I don't think it would have to be with the Bucks. We'll see. Maybe he just retires after this year too. That's also a possibility. So
Yeah, that'd be tough to come back from 1 year then retire, but possibly. The Jags pick is in. They got Devin Lloyd from Utah. I really like that pick. I like Devin Lloyd. So I think that's a good pick for them. Again, they get Devin Lloyd, they get Trayvon Walker, um, in the draft. I think those are two really good picks for them.
yeah, I would agree. I think listen, if you're the Jaguars, you're saying, all right, we're not competing for anything other than third place in the division, and honestly, we probably don't even want to win third place in the division. So what can we do with this pick? And I think the answer is they saw a guy they really liked, high value at 26, and they said, all right, let's trade up, let's go get him. You have the 5th year option for him and everything. You should have team control for 5 years, and he should be able to match up with Trevor Lawrence's prime and everything. So it'll be interesting because this is a team that's going to be bad for a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how many good players they're able to make out of being bad for so long.
Yeah, I would say they're probably going to be bad again this year. Maybe they they won one game last year. I would say they maybe win maybe two or three. Again, they made a little bit of additions free agency wise to the draft, obviously. So maybe, Lawrence maybe gets a little bit better, at least get some more protection. So maybe they win two or three games, probably end up with the top five pick, though. Then you build off next year. And again, if you end up with a top five pick next year and you're the Jaguars, you're trading that pick back most likely. I mean, yeah, maybe not. Maybe there's someone that you really want that's in that top five. But again, next year there's going to be quarterbacks who are going to be there. It's going to be a different type of draft next year than it is this year. So there's probably going to be teams that are going to want to trade up in that top five, like those packages we saw the last couple years, where the Eagles trade up, the Rams trade up. These different teams are trading up to take quarterbacks high in the draft. So I think if next year you win two or three games, you end up with a top five pick. There's a CJ Stroud. There's a Bryce Young or whatever coming out of the draft. Like teams are going to want to trade up for those guys. Seattle might be in there. Carolina, if they don't take Malik Willis, will probably be in there. So there's definitely different teams that are going to be in there. Atlanta will probably be in there. So I think that's a good potential for them to catapult off that for next year. And I think that next year is the year where you'd hope to see 7, 8 wins. Again, a pretty easy division, at least right now. And again, the Colts, Titans are not the toughest teams anyways, and who knows how high they'll get in terms of dominance in that division. So I think that division is going to be open in the next couple of years. And right now, it looks like the Jaguars could be lining up to, as long as Lawrence really truly is that guy, they do look like the team in maybe 2 or 3 years, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I'll say what I consider myself a Trevor Lawrence fan. I was high on him in last year's draft, and I do think he's a guy that. Listen, I mean, I maybe I'm a Mac Jones hater, maybe I'm not, but he's a guy that I would still right now, even with Mac Jones's rookie year and Lawrence's rookie year, if I could trade Mac Jones for Trevor Lawrence, I literally would not even think about it. Instantly, I would say yes. I mean, I know maybe most people would feel that way. I'm just saying I'm still on the Trevor Lawrence bandwagon. I still think he's going to be the best quarterback from that specific draft class. I still think we're going to see why he was the most highly touted prospect since probably Andrew Luck. Is he going to be the best quarterback? Is he going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback? I don't know. We'll see. But I do think we'll see the reasons why he was as highly touted as he will be. And I just think last year's situation was just such a circus that it's really hard for me to take anything out of it. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, and again, the new head coach, Doug Peterson, this year, obviously. Not the greatest coach, but I think he brings more stability to that, obviously more than what it was last year. But yeah, I think they're for sure trending up. And like we said, like as long as Lawrence, you could protect him, which they did an okay job with the offensive line. Again, they'll probably look for maybe later in this draft or probably next year draft offensive linemen. But as long as he can stay on the field and stay healthy and get protection, he should be able to do fine. Like he should live up to being that number one pick of just give him time in the pocket. We saw with Joe Burrow. Now maybe it's not going to be the insane leap that we saw with Burrow in year two. It probably won't be, but because you don't have a Jamar Chase on the outside or whatever. But as long as you give him enough time in the pocket, which at least Burrow got enough time this year compared to his rookie year, obviously where he tore his ACL because of that, you saw what he could do. And I think Lawrence has the capability to do that. Maybe not throw. I think Burrow was 30 plus touchdowns and like 10 picks or whatever he was, 4,000 plus yards. Like he's probably not going to do that. But I think he'll be on that way. Probably year 3, I think he'll be able to do that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I was very on of the opinion like I think we see what a quarterback is day one. I still do kind of believe that. Like I think I can say this guy has it or this guy doesn't after only a few games. But a guy who really proved me wrong on that was Josh Allen because he was a guy that looked awful for a couple of years, and then I was obviously a top 3, 4, 5 quarterback, maybe number one depending on it's subjective, right? He's a guy that if you argued he's number one, I wouldn't agree, but I can at least see why. And he was a guy that clearly had struggles the first couple of years, so I'm now kind of willing to still be on a bandwagon even if there's some struggles off the bat, whereas before I may not have been like that. So
Yeah. Packers pick still. It's the pick is in, but it's not been announced yet.
no wide receiver drafted since 2002. That's just like such a crazy stat to me.
Yeah.
It'll.
They
I mean, if they
probably
go,
won't.
I don't know. Like, what if they go? What if they go defense here? Like, honestly, what would happen? I mean, like, what is Aaron Rodgers gonna think? What if they take some random guy who probably shouldn't have gone high at all? I don't know. It would be interesting, but
I mean, I honestly see him going. Yeah, I probably see him going defense. I mean, just best available guys. They're all defense. The only offensive guys is Malik Willis and Brees Hall. Everyone else is defense. So again, that's not what you go off of. But when the the 11 best available guys, 9 out of the next 11 are all defense. And again, the two guys who said Malik Willis and Brees Hall. You're probably not taking Malik Willis. I mean, I'd be super surprised by that, especially when you have Jordan Love, obviously. But and then you're not going to take a running back with Jones and the other guy from Boston College. So yeah, they're probably going to go defense again. Which yeah, it's going to upset Rodgers for sure. But like, are you going to? You're not going to reach on one of those wide receivers at 28. So just they're in a tough position. I'm still surprised Rodgers is still on the Packers, to be honest. I thought he was gone. But their team got worse than it was last year. So, again, easy division, but their team got worse from this year to last year.
yeah. I guess one thing I believe the pick's about to go in or about to be announced. I don't know if you see it or not, but one thing I would
Yeah.
say is it in?
No, they're doing like a Walter Payton Man of the Year announcement thing or something.
Yeah, I guess like one thing I've noticed this year is we've gotten a lot of like this person is doing this announcement, which is like fine. I prefer to save it for day two though. I just like it's easier, cleaner, more efficient. It kind of is just like a lot, like it takes away from it when almost every pick is like some announcement, some sponsor, some just like good, nice thing to do. It takes away from it when it's like every two picks is something, you know what I mean? If it's like
Yeah.
one pick in the first round, it's a little bit more like meaningful or whatever because it's one pick in the first round. And the second round is kind of like that's when you get your ex players, that's when you get like your charity stuff and all that. So it's like that I'm completely fine with. It's day 2. I'm fine with it. It feels like we've gotten a little bit more of that in the day 1 stuff as compared to last year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just forgetting about all the stuff that happened last year on day 1. But it feels like, at least to me, that we've gotten a lot of a lot of that stuff day 1, which is like fine. It's just like if I was to do my own draft, I'd probably try to save it, a lot of it for day 2 and keep the if I'm gonna do stuff on day 1, I like to keep it you know few and not as much as what they're doing right now. But I guess the pick
Yep.
is in. It's Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle
Yep.
from Georgia, another Georgia defensive guy. I mean, that's we're at 4 now, I want to say.
We're at 4 and potential for 5 with N'Kobe Dean.
So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow,
Now
this
it's I mean
is.
now it's the Pats pick. It's your pick.
We'll see who they. I have no idea who they're gonna. Maybe it's N'Kobe Dean. I wouldn't be mad at that, honestly. I mean, it's a guy that obviously has been talked about a lot. And he's from a insanely just elite, Georgia defense. So
The pick is already in, by the way. I'm not gonna. I'll wait for you'll react to it on your own, but the pick is in.
Whew. Yeah,
Again,
please,
just
no kicker, no punter,
well,
no long snapper.
they're not gonna take a Sebastian Janikowski.
If they do, then I think it's time to look at the general manager spot and start considering, all right, is Bill past his prime on this one? But so we're at
Yeah,
four Georgia guys. I wouldn't be listen. I honestly, for me, if I wouldn't be mad at a fifth. We need linebacking is a big thing for us right now. We need some youth in that linebacker core. Ideally, as much speed as possible, in my opinion. We're just so slow in the linebacking core that covering running backs is a problem. If you need to on the odd coverage cover like a slot receiver, it's a problem. The only like non-issue our linebackers really have is filling gaps. So, inside the tackles running, our linebackers are fine. Anything outside of that, which is like essentially what the NFL is now, is it's running inside the tackles is not what you see every play like what it used to be. That's where our linebackers can get exposed. Like Kyle Van Noy just wasn't enough. Dante Hightower is a great player, but he's old now and he's injury prone. And realistically, he's like a guy that you're ecstatic if he gives you like one or two performances over the regular season where you're like, okay, this is prime Hightower, or this is like 80% of prime Hightower. You're happy with that, and that you're probably not getting that. I don't know. So I wouldn't be mad at a linebacker.
yeah.
No running back. I swear, if we draft a running back, that's bad. There's no way we would, right? I mean, like
No,
it's
you
not going
wouldn't.
to happen. I'm just saying. I just thought I'd get it out of the way. Obviously, we're not going to go quarterback. Um, I wouldn't be mad at corner at all. Um, so we'll see. We will see. I don't know how I'd feel about like the D line, like nose tackle or anything. I wouldn't really want that. Um, I don't think we'd go there either. So edge rusher would be cool. Like an actual like middle linebacker, inside linebacker would be cool. Corner would be cool. Wide receiver would still be cool, even though we spent a good amount of money at that position to try to get things to work out. Um, O line, I would not be a fan of, especially guard. I would be really upset if we picked a guard because that's a position that we literally just had, and I know he was getting paid a good amount of money in Shaq Mason, but that's a guy we just had, and he was arguably our best player, and we traded him for like a fifth round pick. So if we drafted a guard here to essentially just save money, I would be a little bit annoyed at that because the deal he was on wasn't like a horrible deal. It's not similar to like an AJ Brown situation where like he wants top of the market money. Shaq Mason was a good guy and he was a great player. And if we did draft a guard, I'd be like, I wouldn't be a fan of that. I don't think we're gonna go there either. I do think it's gonna be either inside linebacker, a fast guy who can cover, who can kind of do everything, or a really elite edge rusher, hopefully, or a corner, or wide receiver.
Yeah. It's their work. It's in commercial break, which I haven't seen the pick or anything like that. I think they'll probably go to Kobe Dean. To be honest, I think that makes the most sense for them. But like you were saying, how long this takes and like all the other stuff. I mean, it's been over 3 hours, and we're doing commercial breaks, like full on commercial breaks, when we're at the 29th pick. Like, come on, like let's just finish it. I know they make money and everything like off that, but like let's just finish the draft at this point. Like the last six picks should just go. Like there's no reason for us to be again on the West Coast. It doesn't matter because it's only 8:15 or 8:20, but it's 11:20 on the East Coast. This shouldn't be taking this long.
I mean, yeah, I'm in full agreement. Like, you sit here for 3 hours to watch your team pick, and they trade back, and this happens like almost every
Yeah,
year. It's frustrating, right? I mean, I guess it's like a first world problem because there's many fans who wish they could wait the 3 hours to watch their team pick. Jaguars fans, Jets
yeah.
fans,
It's
but
like it's like you want to be in the back of the draft because I mean you had a good season. I mean, unless it was a trade or whatever, but it usually means you have a good season. But you have to wait 3 hours to see your pick, or you literally wait 2 minutes to see your pick if you're like the first pick, and then you're done. I mean, you just have it on in the background. You do whatever you want. You don't have to like focus on it.
yeah,
That's where the best is being like 12 to 18 because that usually is around the 1.5 to 2 hour mark. But
yeah. I mean, we literally like we planned to start recording at like at the
it's been
19th
like an
pick, and
hour.
here we are an hour later. We thought this was going to be I don't know 15 minutes. And yeah, maybe we were foolish to assume that. We clearly were. I mean,
Well,
the
I mean,
trade
if the
back
Pats
was,
didn't trade back, then we would have been done. But
yeah,
yeah, the pick's about to come in, so let's see.
yeah. This is gonna be interesting. I don't know if I'm nervous or what. Of course, my stream lags, so I gotta refresh my page. This internet is like pissing me off
I
here.
just was
Oh my god, you're kidding me.
Chattanooga. The pick was
Coach's
closer.
favorite. You've got to be. Oh my god, dude. I'm actually about to. Oh my god, man. Like I don't know enough about the player, right? So it's tough for me to really give you like a strict opinion. If he turns out to be Quentin Nelson, then I don't know. But this is the worst case scenario for me in my opinion. This is worst case. A guard. We traded Shaq Mason, one of a top 5 player, undoubtedly on our team. Granted, he was getting paid a good amount of money. The cap is not. I'm sorry, but we're not doing anything with the money we just traded with Shaq Mason away. Like, so I don't know. I don't know what to say. It feels like a complete waste. It feels like we just threw our first round pick down the drain. We've already gotten like 3 of them thrown down the drain for cheating. We've thrown a couple of them down the drain for busts, and now we throw one on a guard. I don't know. I'm not listening to these guys right now, like the announcer, like Rich Eisen, Charles Davis, and Daniel Jeremiah and those guys. But this feels awful to me. If there's no plan to throw him at tackle or something, I don't know. It just does not know. This is a horrible pick. And chat like I want to know on a big board on big boards where he was averaged. There's no. I don't believe it's 29.
Um,
Maybe I'm wrong, but
they on ESPN they had him at position rank, so that's guard third overall rank, 77th, grade 77th, 77.
so yeah, on average, theoretically, he goes around the third round, right? He's like a middle of the third round guy. We just took a 29th overall. Again, maybe 77 is low or whatever, or high, I guess, but I don't know. This is the worst case, in my opinion. I cannot
It,
believe it.
yeah, it seems like just reading they already have post draft analysis, which is super fast. But they said day one starter. Patriots have a pressing need at guard, and that is where it seems like he's going to play guard and maybe center if necessary, but it doesn't seem like tackle. Seems like guard,
Yeah, he's
I
not going
would
to play
say.
center, barring David Andrews being hurt. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's we didn't have a pressing need at guard considering we traded away our guard for a 5th round pick. And that's how I look at it. We traded a really, really good guard in this league, consistent player away for a 5th rounder. Unless there's something I don't know about Shaq Mason, which I really don't think is the case, then I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan, and I honestly don't know what pick would have been worse. At
Um,
least if we took a receiver who was like mocked to go in the 2nd or 3rd round, I'd be like, all right, at least that's a position that we need. And I guess I don't know. Do we need guard? Maybe, but we traded like I don't know. That's it's I don't know. It doesn't
well,
make sense to me. It's like essentially if like it's almost like it's like the Texans trading away DeAndre Hopkins for what they did, like a 2nd rounder, and then taking a wide receiver in the 1st round that was supposed to be mocked in like the 3rd round. It just like doesn't make any sense. It's completely backwards. Makes no sense. You had a real, and obviously he's not. Shaq Mason's not DeAndre Hopkins. It's backwards. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. If I'm grading the pick right now, I'm giving it a C minus. The only reason it's not an F is because technically we did trade away Shaq Mason, and if Shaq Mason just retires the next day, like tomorrow, then maybe my opinion on this pick changes very slightly, but still no. Oh my god, I cannot believe it.
well, we
What's
both.
I don't know.
I mean, it seems like we both kind of got screwed with our picks, to be honest.
Yeah, I not a fan.
I guess mine was a little bit more out of necessity than yours was, but at the same time, I think ours was a big reach. Yours, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you just said. I mean, like, you just traded a guy, you traded a veteran starter to get he wasn't making crazy money, so it's not like that was a reason why. So
Like he was making good money, and we've had historically we've paid a lot to our guards recently. Um, but I don't care. I don't know. It's a horrible pick to me. I don't understand it. I would have preferred, if Jermaine Johnson was still, I would have preferred almost anybody. I would have preferred to trade down. I would have been happier had we traded down out of the first and picked this guy. A guard to me is just not as big of a need. It's just I don't know. And I'm not a guy that would be mad at like picking an offensive lineman. Like I'm not against picking a lineman. It's just this team right now, that's not what I would have wanted in the first round, especially a guard. Like it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But I guess that's it, right? I mean, we've been here for an hour and a half or hour 15, so I don't want to hold us here any longer. We'll finish up the draft on our own and all that. We'll probably, when we talk next, we'll probably give more breakdowns on day 2, day 3. We'll talk about whatever there is to talk about. We'll probably talk
yeah,
about some more of the day 1 stuff, specifically some of the higher picks potentially. We'll probably talk more about the trades. Um, so NBA wise, I guess Celtics are doing well, so I'm happy with it. Obviously, Chris Middleton expected to miss the whole series. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not like listen. I wish he was healthy, obviously, but if you told me Chris Middleton has to miss 10 games in his career, pick which 10 games it's going to be, I'd probably pick 4 or 7 of those games would be like this series. So
well, I mean, hey, to be fair, the Bucks played technically better when he wasn't playing. Um,
yeah, but I mean we'll
Now does
see.
that mean anything? No, but it's just something.
It's interesting. I mean,
But
if you who you got this series? Who do you got? Bucks or Celtics?
are we doing this now?
I mean, I just quickly. I mean, I don't know if we'll talk before that series at least starts. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Probably not. We'll see. It starts Sunday at
Um,
1, so
no, we probably won't, but we'll probably
it'll be
um,
like we'll probably talk like after game 1 or after game
yeah.
2. So
I guess just quickly, I'd probably pick Celtics just because the Middleton piece it's not as big against the Bulls, but against the Celtics with the defense that they have, I don't it's not like I'm worried about Giannis, but I'm worried about someone else. I'm worried about Drew Holiday having to score 25 points every single game when we know Drew Holiday has games where he goes 2 for 15. Almost every other game. So I'd probably go Celtics. I'd 6 or 7 to be honest. But we'll talk about. I mean, the next episode, like you said, we'll talk about our team's picks in day 2, day 3, and then maybe some guys who slid, some surprising picks, whatever. We'll talk about the higher end guys in day 1 from the first round, trades, everything like that, and then we'll do an NBA. We'll talk about the NBA also. The end of the it'll be the end of the first round for all the series, or if it's a game 7, it'll be that day or whatever. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. But I right now I would go Celtics.
I'm going Bucks in 7. So I
Well, you
don't.
heard. I mean, well, that's official. Bucks and 7.
Yeah, I'm going Bucks in 7. I'm not gonna talk about it too much. I'll go Bucks in 7. Um, Sorry about your Nuggets pick. That's not looking great. I think my first round has probably
Well,
looked
it's
maybe.
not looking great because it's over. So
Well,
yeah,
that's what I'm
no, it
saying.
doesn't
Yeah,
look
I
good.
just. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Probably in 4 or 5 days or whatever that happens to be. So we'll be back. Appreciate everybody watching this. If you're watching it, it is what it is. I know it's whatever. I mean, it's just I don't even want to think about it. But anyways, we'll be back probably in the next 4 days to 1 week. So goodbye.